You can edit this in. Hello. Wow. Great to see you. My name is Tyler. I work here at Truffle Shuffle, and I'm your personal chef today. Okay? Yes, you heard it here. Your personal chef. I'm probably in your house, maybe at your friend's house. Maybe you send this to your friend. Maybe you sent this to her mom for her birthday. Happy birthday, Mom. Okay? But either way, I'm going to be cooking with you. We're going to be showing you how to make mac and cheese. Okay? And then we're going to put truffles in it. And that's going to take it completely over the top. Okay? But as we do this recorded class over here, because it's recorded, okay, make sure that you are pausing me where necessary, okay? Make sure you are fast forwarding me when I go down the rabbit hole talking about stuff that you don't necessarily care about in the moment, right? And make sure to rewind me if I go too fast to show you anything that you will need to know as well. So with that, we're gonna get started in our recipe over here. And some of you might be cooking out of a kit, some of you might be cooking with a shopping list, but either or you have a recipe. So I'm gonna go ahead and bust that out. You can see over here, we got our Truffle Mac and Cheese, okay? So this is one of our favorite recipes. It's become a Truffle Shuffle classic. All right, we're gonna show you how to make a beautiful Mornay sauce, right? We're gonna be using really, really nice pasta and truly showing you how to make that incredible, decadent mac and cheese. So, first things first, we're gonna go over our mise en place and our ingredients. Mise en place means everything in its place in French, okay? So, literally it's all that stuff that you are gonna need, okay? Do not limit it to equipment or ingredients, okay? Mise en place includes your mindset, all right? It includes any aprons that you might be rocking, any chef hats, okay? Any additional exciting mise en place, please take a photo of it. Tag us at truffleshuffle_SF. We'd love to see it. But with that, we're going to get started over here. We have our mise en place, right? So, first things first, I'll need a cutting board. All right? Look at that cutting board, DJ Nick. Really, really nice cutting board. We also need a knife, okay? You see my knife right here. It's a Western style chef's knife. It's going to be incredible for doing what I needed to do today. Next up, we got a cheese grater, okay? I've got my cheese grater showing you multiple sides of reflection, all right? You might be able to even see my reflection in this cheese grater, okay? Wow. After that, we're gonna need a little cast iron pan, okay? Or a Pyrex container, okay? You can use either or. We're going to be using this as our landing pad because we're going to be making like a casserole style mac and cheese today. After that, we will need a wooden spoon as well as a whisk, okay? And we got a strainer and a bowl, okay? After that, over on our stove, I got a medium sauce pot for making my Mornay sauce. I also have a large pot over here that I'm going to be using for blanching my pasta, okay? And I also have a little saute pan, all right? We're going to be using that saute pan for toasting up our panko, okay? So that is all of our mise en place. Next, we have our ingredients, okay? So lay them all out beautifully. We got a little butter. All right, we're only going to be needing 2 ounces of butter for this recipe, okay? We'll also have a little bit of pasta. And I'm using Relenti pasta over here. If you're cooking out of one of our kits, you have Relenti. If you don't, you can use any other kind of macaroni that you'd like. Just adjust the cooking time per the instructions. So you get that really nice al dente, okay? Next, we got a pack of the world's finest Balinese truffle salt, okay? Next, got some all-purpose flour. You can use for any purpose. We got some panko, Japanese style breadcrumbs. We mixed a little bit of dried thyme in there. I really like doing that because it adds that additional depth of flavor. All right, we got a little bay leaf and garlic. as well as some cheddar cheese, okay? We also have a little bit of mozzarella. And we got a little artisan cheese over here. We're using a Point Reyes Toma. But honestly, any semi-hard cheese that you want to use will be perfect. We like doing 3 different kinds of cheese over here. They all have different uses, right? That cheddar cheese acts like our flavor foundation over here, basically. We got our mozzarella cheese over here, which adds that stringiness and that texture. Okay, and then we have our Toma, or our artisan style cheese, to have that flavor, right? To really take it over the top. And I really like using this Toma. You can use like a wagon wheel or some other cheese like that in the future. I like using this because it has that really nice nuttiness to it, okay? Next, we have a little milk and a little cream, okay? The best Mornay sauces are made with milk and cream. And then last but not least, we have the finest in the whole universe, our truffle carpaccio, okay? Very, very exciting. You want to go ahead, open up that carpaccio. Oof, wow. And smell it.
Oh, yeah.
That is unbelievably delicious, okay? So, with that, we have all of our mise en place and all of our ingredients over here. Okay, so I know you're at home out there, but if you are ready to get cooking, okay, I would love to see a thumbs up out there. All right, hype it up over here. This is time to get your exercise in, okay? Really get those joints moving, get that blood flowing, get everything going nicely, okay? So, we're gonna come over here, go right into step 1 in our prep during our class, which is to fill up that large pot with water. Okay, so you can see over here I got my large pot filled up with water till it's about 1 inch from the top, right? I'm gonna put that on my stove on low heat, okay? And I'm just gonna pop this lid back on top, okay? Whenever you are cooking, you wanna think about, honestly, mise en place is a word that truly is all encompassing, right? So it means all the stuff you're gonna need, but it also means how you organize yourself. So I don't want to get everything ready for this recipe and then turn on my water, right? That wouldn't be mise en place. I want to get my water started now. That way, 40 minutes from now or 30 minutes from now, we need to kick up the heat on it. It's boiling much faster, okay? So next, we're gonna come over here and go to step 2, which is to chop half of this truffle carpaccio. So I'm gonna come over here, grab that carpaccio. I like grabbing a little fork. Okay, and I just want to come over here and remove that carpaccio from that jar and get it onto my cutting board. Okay, I'm only going to chop half, right, because I'm going to use the other half for garnishing the top of this mac and cheese, right? We really like to channel our inner Ben and Jerry's here at Truffle Shuffle, right? So we're gonna have some truffle folded into that Mornay, but then we're also gonna have some pieces on top. That way every second or third bite has that burst of flavor. So come over here with your knife, all right? And what we're gonna do is chop or haché this truffle, okay? So what I want you to do is go ahead, put one hand on top of your knife, one hand on the handle. Okay, we're just gonna rock that knife back and forth. All right, right on top of those truffles. I'm gonna come over here, get at it in the other direction. All right, and we're just looking for those truffles to be chopped up nice and fine, okay? Nice and small. They don't have to be super, super small. It doesn't have to be like a paste. But basically just doing this so that way every bite has a little bit of that truffle in it, okay? So, I got my truffles minced up. I'm gonna go ahead and grab a little bowl or a little plate. I'm just gonna pop those truffles directly into my little bowl. All right. Excellent. So pop those guys right in there. All right, next, I'm just gonna set that off to the side, okay? You can see we got our beautiful chopped truffles over here looking really exciting, okay? Oh my gosh. All right. I'm gonna pop those right over there. I'm gonna try to resist them as much as I can. Okay, so next, I'm gonna get to grating up this cheese. Okay, so first things first, I'm gonna grab that Point Reyes Toma. I'm gonna open it up. Again, you might be using any other kind of artisan style cheese to be doing this. All right, so what I want to do is, first things first, if your cheese has a rind on it, you want to go ahead and just remove that rind, okay? Mine has just a little bit of rind on it. I'm just going to remove it. It's not that, depending on the cheese, it might be edible, it might not be edible, okay? But truly, either way, even if the rind is edible or not edible, many times the cheese rind doesn't really melt the same way, okay? So you don't really want to use it in a preparation like mac and cheese. So the next step is very important, and I really want to highlight this, okay? You want to cut a very small, thin piece of cheese off, okay? Super, super thin as you possibly can. And this is what I thought would be super cool to kind of teach all of you out there what we are looking for as chefs when we taste something like a beautiful cheese, okay? So you want to grab that cheese, all right, hold it up to the camera, all right? Wow. And then go ahead and eat that delicious piece of cheese, all right? Wow. That is tasting so good, all right? I want to protect my dish, make sure this cheese is tasting delicious. That way, if the cheese doesn't taste delicious, right, I don't add it into my pan. Or, more importantly, if the cheese does taste delicious, you're very excited, okay, to work with that cheese and add it into your sauce. So, now that I got my cheese properly tasted, okay, I'm going to grate up my cheese. Go ahead, hit up those cheese graters, all right? I don't know about all of you, but personally I get very excited when I'm grating up my cheese over here. I like to listen to some funky music, okay? Get really excited and just grate the cheese, grate this funky cheese to that funky music over there, all right? I got my Point Reyes Toma grated. Okay, next, I'm gonna come over here and grate up my cheddar cheese. And again, this is gonna add that really nice kind of depth of flavor into our mac and cheese over here, okay? And so as you're grating it, if it kind of crumbles up a little bit, honestly, that is just fine. All right, that is really not a problem. But you just want to get the cheese as small as you can, you know, with this cheese grater. And then next, we're gonna need our mozzarella. So, depending on the kind of mozzarella that you have, you might have fresh or low moisture, okay? I only need about 8 ounces of mozzarella for this recipe, okay? So, to do that, I'm gonna remove it from the packaging and just go ahead and grate it in here as well, okay? And so, again, what we're looking for over here is we want this mac and cheese to have all those cheeses do the different things that they're supposed to do, right? So again, just to go over it, the mozzarella is not so much for the flavor as it is for the texture, okay? We want you guys to be able to take Instagram photos of it, right? But in all seriousness, we want it to be nice and stringy mac and cheese, or, you know, we want it to have that stringiness, and that's where mozzarella comes into play, because in the making of the mozzarella, they literally stretch the curd, and that gives it that stringiness, right? Which gives it that, when it melts, it gives it that texture. And then you have cheddar cheese over here. which again acts as like our flavor podium, so to speak. So it's just a really nice, flavor, and it's got a little bit of stringiness to it. Adds a little bit of that moisture content to the dish as well. And then, last but not least, you got that nice artisan-style cheese, which is great, and add that nuttiness and kind of complexity to it. We got everything grated up over here. What we want to do next is just toss together our cheeses, okay? That way they get to know each other, they hang out, and who doesn't want to have a bowl full of tossed up cheese, okay? It's like one of the most exciting ideas possible. Feel free to get a little snack attack if you'd like. What I want you to do is go ahead and set that cheese off to the side, okay? Do your best to not eat all the cheese, but even if you eat some of it, it is not going to be detrimental to the recipe, okay? So I'm going to grab my garlic, okay? And I want to just really nicely, finely mince the garlic, okay? So take your knife, put the side of it on the garlic, smash the clove just a little bit. You don't have to smash it till it's completely, you know, a flat tire. And then just peel back that garlic, all right? Those garlic skins, you can put them in compost. You can save them for vegetable stock. You can use them in stocks or anything like that too. And so what I want you to do is come in here, trim that garlic end, save that in the stock pot. And then we're gonna mince this really fine, just like our truffles, okay? Because when you make this recipe, I don't want you to taste the garlic as much as I want you to like feel the garlic, right? And I don't mean to sound like overly like poetic about that or whatever, but literally you don't want the garlic, you don't want to bite into it and say, oh wow, that garlic tastes good. A lot of flavors that you use in cuisine are nuanced flavors, which are like layers, right? So you're gonna taste this mac and cheese and say, wow, that tastes delicious. Not really be able to put your finger on it necessarily, but that is where the garlic and things like the bay leaf come into play, and that little bit of dried thyme too. So come over here. We're just gonna really finely mince up this garlic. I'm just gonna set it off to the side. All right. So at this point, right, that brings us over through step 4 in our prep during our class. All right, so we got our pot of water coming up to a boil, okay? At this point, I do want you to turn the heat up all the way on that pot, okay? Turn the heat up all the way on this pot, right? Bringing it to a boil. We've got our truffle beautifully hashayed, okay? We got our cheese grated, and that garlic is chopped, okay? So, with that, next we're gonna get into our how to cook section, okay? So if you are there with us at home, all right, let's see a thumbs up out there. All right, so now we're gonna get into our how to cook section. So you wanna come down to step 1, okay? We're gonna heat up 2 ounces of butter. So I'm gonna take my butter. If you're using a stick of butter, that means cut it in half, right? The other half of that butter you can save for any future recipes, okay? And then we're gonna come over here and pop that 2 ounces of butter into our sauce pot, all right? And I want you to heat this up over a medium-low heat over here, all right? I'm gonna take my wooden spoon and just stir that butter around as it's melting, all right? So this is step 1 in our how to cook, all right? I wanna add my garlic into the pan with my butter, but I wanna let my butter kind of melt down a little bit first, all right? When we're doing this over here, what I want you to keep an eye on is you don't want to brown the garlic, right? What we're doing here is it's called sweating or stewing the vegetables. So we're going to be stewing our garlic, but we don't want to get any brown on it, only because when you brown garlic, it becomes a much more forward or strong flavor, right? When you caramelize it. So I don't want to do that. I want to keep it nice and soft and subtle. Now I'm going to add my minced garlic into the pan. What I want to do next, I want to add a pinch of truffle salt, right? To give that kind of baseline seasoning over there. Okay, so come over here, get a nice pinch of salt, and then just let that salt, oh my gosh, rain down into that pot with that garlic, okay? That salt also helps draw out the moisture in that garlic, which assists with the stewing process. My garlic has gotten nice and soft, okay? There's not really any color on it. And so what I want to do at this point is I'm going to add my flour into the pan. Just come over here. Add that flour into the pan and stir that flour up into our butter, okay? And does anyone know what we're making over here? All right, cue up the Jeopardy music. All right, so some of you might have guessed it. Okay, we are making a roux. All right, we're making a roux out here. Roux time is very exciting. So come over here as we're making this roux. I want to be continuously stirring it, okay? And it's super important when you're making this roux that you're watching how it changes, okay? So lean in and smell. All right, at this point, my garlic has been cooked out. I got that little pinch of that salt in there. All right, I've added my flour. And what I want to do is I want to keep my roux on the blonde side, right? Meaning I don't want it to caramelize or get brown. The more you can cook a roux until it's almost black, right? That's how you make like gumbos and whatnot. It gives it a lot of flavor. But for mac and cheese, I want to keep it nice and light. So it only takes about 2 minutes or so. But what's happening over here is every single grain of that ground flour is getting coated with a little bit of fat, a little bit of butter, right? And that's making sure that all of our sauce is going to be nice and smooth, okay? And I'm just getting a very light toast going on over here. Again, I'm on medium-low heat. I'm just getting a really nice toast going on. That way you don't get that kind of pasty, raw flour flavor on your palate, okay? So, now that my butter has been cooking with my flour to create my roux, I'm going to switch over to my whisk, okay? And what we're going to do next, the next step is very important for making a smooth sauce, right? What I want you to do is add half of your milk to the pot. All right? Add half of that milk to the pot. And I want you to turn that pot up all the way to medium-high, high to medium-high heat, okay? And start whisking. All right? Start whisking. So, again, what we did, we added half of our milk into our pot with our roux. And now we turn the heat up to medium-high. And what I want to do is bring this to a full boil. And what's going to happen is my flour is going to cook, right? And it's going to start to activate and thicken up my sauce. But in order to do that, we have to bring it to a full boil. Otherwise, you'll never fully activate the flour. And you'll notice this is going to create a paste. Okay, it's going to make a paste over here. And that's exactly what you want. So you can see on my screen, right? You see that? How it's formed a paste in my whisk? That's exactly what you want. And this step over here is essential to making a very smooth sauce. If you add all the liquid in at once, you're gonna get lumps, okay? So now that I've formed that paste, I'm gonna add the rest of my milk, all right? And I'm gonna add all of my cream, okay? As well as my bay leaf, all right? So we got all those items in here. Again, I'm still on medium high to high heat. And so what I want to do now is just keep whisking that sauce as it comes to a boil, okay? Just like with when we added that half of milk at first, we have to make sure that this comes to a full boil, okay? And then we're gonna turn it down to a simmer. If the sauce does not come to a full boil, it will never thicken properly, okay? So as it's coming up to a boil, that garlic is gonna start, infusing your kitchen with that delicious aroma. That bay leaf is gonna add that really nice, subtle, kind of savory flavor. And so, this sauce right here, does anyone know what it is? Bechamel, okay? This is called bechamel. Roux and milk is bechamel, okay? We use this a lot for, something like a mac and cheese is a great example. It's called, classically in French, mac and cheese is a technique that we would call the salpicon, right? But bechamel, you can use for a lot of different recipes, like a traditional like gravy, like biscuits and gravy. This is your gravy right here. So, as you can see over here, my sauce has come to a full boil and now it's thick, okay? So what I want to do after my sauce has come to a full boil is I want to turn the heat down to a nice low heat, okay? And what we want to do at this stage is we want to let our sauce cook, but we gotta whisk our sauce up from time to time, okay? We gotta whisk that sauce from time to time. And I'm making sure that my sauce is not scorching to the bottom, because bechamel loves to stick to the bottom of the pan, okay? It's literally like one of his favorite things to do in the whole world. So don't let the sauce do that, okay? Don't let the sauce push you around. Let the sauce know who's the chef in the kitchen. This is step 6 in our how to cook, right? Let that sauce simmer for about 10 minutes, all right? And that gives us a great opportunity to check our pot of water, which mine is almost boiling over here. And honestly, I've found this is like the perfect place to be at. Once your sauce is simmering, if your pot of water is basically boiling, your timing is gonna be super perfect, right? Because my pasta takes about 9 minutes to cook, right? Your pasta will probably take very similar. And our sauce, guess what? Takes about 10 minutes to cook. So therefore, we are aligned in terms of our cook times over here. And so, as my pot of water is coming up to a boil, I'm gonna go ahead and grab a little bit of kosher salt. Okay, you don't necessarily need kosher for this. You can use table salt, right? Any other kind of salt. I would not use that truffle salt, right? Because you want to use that for specifically seasoning dishes that you're going to eat. But you want some salt to season our pasta water. So my pot over here is boiling. All right, you can see right there. So what I want you to do is to add a couple pinches of salt into the pot, right? Add a nice pinch of salt in there. Okay? And then what I want you to do is I want you to come in here, just stir up that pot of boiling water. And we're gonna cook our pasta. Okay? Alright, so I got my pasta in the pot. I'm gonna stir it up as I add it to the pot, and we're gonna make sure to stir this pasta from time to time as it's cooking. Okay, so my pasta over here is gonna take about 8 to 9 minutes. Depending on your pasta, the cook time might be a little bit different, okay? But I've got my sauce nice and lightly simmering over here, right? We've got our pasta cooking for this 8 to 9 minutes. So I'm gonna let that pasta cook. This is a perfect time to pour that next glass of wine, right? Make that next cocktail.
Yeah.
Okay, make sure your sous chefs aren't doing anything crazy. All right, and let those things keep cooking, and I will see you here in just a couple minutes. So we're back now after allowing our sauce to cook and our pasta to cook. Okay, so now I'm gonna taste test my pasta. All right, always make sure you taste test a little bit of pasta. Mine's perfect. And what you're looking for is you want that pasta to be al dente, meaning it's chewy, but it's not crunchy, and it's not mushy, right? Mushy is overcooked, crunchy is undercooked, chewy is al dente, okay? So what I want to do now is I want to go ahead and strain my pasta, all right? So I got my pasta beautifully strained, okay? And next what I want to do is I want to add my cheese to my sauce, okay? So I'm just gonna come over here. I'm going to remove my bay leaf from my sauce, okay? I don't need that bay leaf anymore, so I'm actually gonna get rid of it, right? It's done its job. And what I want you to do is turn the heat off, okay? Turn the heat off and add all that cheese into that sauce, okay? I know what you're thinking out there. You're probably thinking this is a crazy amount of cheese to be adding to this sauce, and my answer is yes, that's true. It is a lot of cheese, but truthfully, you need all that cheese for the mac and cheese sauce so you can get the stringiness and that flavor that you are looking for. I'm gonna come over here. Again, my heat is off, and I'm just gonna stir my cheese into my sauce. And it's very important that heat is off, because once we start adding our cheese, I don't want to cook the cheese, right? I just want to melt the cheese. And that's a very important difference, because if you cook the cheese, if you cook it, it's gonna separate, right? And it's gonna curdle. But if you just let that cheese melt down over there, okay, it retains that beautiful texture. So you can see, right, this is why we sent you that mozzarella. Whoa. Get maximum stringiness on that cheese sauce, all right? You always want maximum string going on over there. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay, I'm also gonna stir in my chopped truffle carpaccio. All right. And just whisk everything into that sauce. And as long as that sauce was nice and hot when you added the cheese, all the cheese will melt. We just need to help it out by really whisking it together. Okay? So I'm just gonna whisk my sauce for a second. Let all that cheese completely melt down. Again, I still got that really nice stringiness going on over here. So, wow, mine's really good. But it does need a pinch of salt. Okay, so I'm just gonna add a little bit more Balinese truffle salt into my pot. And this is really where you wanna season to taste. Okay, so now I got my cheese sauce looking beautiful and stringy and delicious. All right, I'm gonna come over here and just fold this macaroni into this cheese sauce, all right? Oh yeah. All right, so I know what you're thinking. It looks like a lot of sauce to the amount of pasta, and that's true, okay? But as this sauce and this pasta hang out together, the pasta's gonna soak up a lot of that sauce. And tomorrow, when you reheat the leftovers, you're really gonna be thanking me, okay? Because mac and cheese is notorious for absorbing that beautiful sauce, and I want to make sure you have enough of it, okay? So come over here and just stir those noodles into that beautiful sauce, all right? Oh my gosh. Now I got everything ready to go. The last step over here is to toast our panko breadcrumbs. So, small saute pan onto the stove. And I'm gonna add my panko into the pan, okay? And what I want you to do is I want you to cook this over medium heat, all right? And what we're gonna do is just toss that panko from time to time and really allow it to get beautiful golden brown and delicious, okay? If you don't move the panko around as you cook it, it's gonna cook very unevenly, so you gotta move it, all right? At this point, you can smell that little bit of dried thyme in there too. I like adding the dried thyme because it gives us, again, that depth of flavor. Many times when you eat a well-made dish, it's all the little things that really stand out, right? Because the big things are obvious, but the little things like, oh wow, that little bit of dried thyme in there. Oh, that little bit of minced garlic. Wow, the fact that they use 3 different cheeses. That is really how you make a very memorable next level mac and cheese, okay? We'll see some saute pan flips out there. All right. Perfect opportunity to practice that saute pan flip. And now once you get to the point where the majority of that panko is toasted where you want it, right? You can actually come in here and just turn the heat all the way down or even off and just let the residual heat in the pan kind of heat everything up the rest of the way. So I'm at that stage over here. Right? My panko is beautifully toasted. Now all that's left to do is plate up this mac and cheese, okay? So, I got a cast iron. If you don't have a cast iron, you can use a Pyrex container, right? Or casserole container, but you just want to come in here, get all that mac and cheese, beautiful deliciousness into that pan, all right? Wow, look at that. Oh my gosh. And then we're gonna coat the top of this mac and cheese with this panko over here, all right? So you can see, I wanna make sure I get a nice even coating. So go all the way around the edges, all right, of that mac and cheese. And then come over the top, right? And I really like adding this toasted panko layer because it gives us that nice textural contrast to the creaminess of the mac and cheese. And truly, I believe that's what makes a great mac and cheese, all those different textures and flavors, okay? So, last but certainly not least, we're coming over the top, again, Ben & Jerry's style, with our truffle carpaccio, just laying down those nice pieces of that truffle. Oh my gosh, right? Just laying that truffle down. That way, again, we got that little bit of chopped truffle folded into the mac and cheese. But truly, this is what ensures that every single bite, or every second or third bite, has that really nice pop, okay? And then last but not least, you can also sprinkle a little bit of truffle oil right over the top, okay? And coming in here, one final sprinkle of Bolognese truffle salt, all right? Right over the top. All right, and there you have it over here. Our incredible looking mac and cheese casserole, okay? So, dig into this dish over here. Eat it while it's nice and hot, and it makes a lot, right? This is a New England size portion for 2. Okay, so in many places that's like a portion for 4 or 6. But cool this down, right? Reheat it tomorrow, right? You can reheat it in the oven, reheat it in the microwave, honestly, if you want to as well. But enjoy this mac and cheese. I hope you really enjoyed this cooking class, right? We got loads of cooking classes coming up. We got live classes, on-demand classes, all the above. Super excited to be able to cook with you. So thank you for letting me in your kitchen. I hope you enjoy this mac and cheese, and I would love to cook with you again. So thank you, everyone.